Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. And a very warm welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCU Daily. At the time of recording this, the Fantastic Four trailer hasn't been released yet. But just in case I touched that in my conversation today, by the time you see this video, you may very well have seen the Fantastic Four trailer. I have no idea about its quality. I'm being told it's an outstanding trailer. That could be wrong. You and me will be the judges of that when we see it. I may do a reaction, I may not. Let's see how time does it. I may do a reaction to it tomorrow. Anyway, you can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and Threads at Movies TV Mad X. So today I want to talk about the multitude of shilling there is for James Gunn. I don't trust anyone who shills for James Gunn, whether it's an unknown person on the internet or someone famous. We've seen Bitsy Tulloch shill for James Gunn a great deal. Is it genuine shilling? Does she want to keep working with WB? Probably. I wouldn't say anything she says about James Gunn that's positive. Apparently, look, she's very good friends with Peter Safran, the other co-CEO of DC Studios. She was very happy to lose her job on Superman and Lois. She was ecstatic that James Gunn had cancelled Superman and Lois, and she said, let's move on. Let's support James Gunn. Now, Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch won a Saturn Award for Superman and Lois. Either they did or the show did. Well deserved, well produced show. The production values are wonderful. It was something unique and different for Superman. As a Superman fan, I appreciate them and the show. I don't appreciate their shilling. And now Tyler Hoechlin, who played Clark Kent, aka Superman, also is shilling for James Gunn. He loved Guardians of the Galaxy. He's spoken to David Corenswet. He's a classy guy. I'm sure David is a very classy guy. Who am I to say he's not? But the point is, he's shilling. He's looking forward to seeing Superman, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And none of this is genuine, of course. This is the way the industry works. Do you really believe that Tyler Hoechlin, who played Superman on the TV show, that should have went 7 or 8 seasons, that was cut short to, 4 seasons, is ecstatic and is loving James Gunn, right? When someone fires me, I swear at them. Or, at least under my breath, when someone fires me, I don't go on social media, although I haven't been fired for quite some time and there wasn't social media last time I was fired, but I wouldn't go on social media singing this person's praises. But if you're wise and you want to work in this biz, this is what you have to do, of course. But what I'm saying is, I don't believe any of it. There's no way those people can be happy about losing their jobs. Now listen, shows finishing, shows being cancelled, shows having a natural progressive ending is part of the business. Actors understand, everyone working on shows understands that. You begin on a show, it finishes. When you make a movie, it finishes. They understand it's on to the next project. In a way, they're like gypsies. They go from one place to the other. So they get it, but this show was supposed to carry on. The thing is with Superman and Lois, and we've discussed this subject on a numerous amount of occasions, is it was a successful show. People were watching it, the numbers were great, and the CW president admitted they wanted to keep it. So, and he said it was a DC decision, it was a WB decision. They didn't want any competing Superman properties. James Gunn was intimidated by Superman and Lois, because let's not get it twisted. No matter what I think of Tyler's comments supporting James Gunn, or Bitsy's comments supporting James Gunn and Peter Safran, they made a great, unique, very different take on Superman, and it worked. I like different takes on the things I love. I don't want to see the same thing every time. I'm not beholden to canon. If you change the canon in something I love for the better, as they did a lot on Smallville, I will appreciate that. If you change canon to rewrite history, I won't appreciate that, and I'll go on record criticising that. It depends how you do it. But Superman and Lois can't be criticised. It's a great show. Obviously, at times it was very current day, but we'll let them off for that. So I don't think you should be, shilling James Gunn, but ultimately he has power at WB right now. He is the co-CEO of DC Studios. Tyler Hoechlin apparently even loves Batman, and his fans want him to play Batman in the DCU. Wouldn't that be something, hey? Talk about taking your 30 pieces of silver. Well, it worked for Jason Momoa, didn't he? He kept his mouth shut when they cancelled his Aquaman. He's not Aquaman anymore, he's Loba. He took his 30 pieces of silver. Look, I love Jason Momoa. He's a great guy. He's a good dude. I love him. Got a lot of time for Jason. He was a great Aquaman, by the way. But he did take his 30 pieces of silver and never complained about Aquaman being big. Never complained to what was done to his sequel of Aquaman, because he was very much part of the development of that movie, and James Gunn shot it down, interfered with it, and made it a bad movie. That wasn't on Jason, and that wasn't on James Wan, one of the greatest directors we have in the biz today. So it's interesting. That takes me on to the elephant in the room, which I kind of quickly mentioned the other day, and it's the YouTubers, The Real Rejects. And they did a video where they were shilling for James Gunn and criticising fans for criticising that flying sequence in the TV spot. This is a video about people shilling for James Gunn, so I want to get into this again. You know, nobody can deny what they saw. This TV spot wasn't tampered with by fans. It was something released by DC Studios, Warner Brothers Discovery, and James Gunn. Now, personally, it says a lot about a director who's okay for that type of shot to be released. Because to me, that's not a finished shot. And if that's a finished shot, they are in trouble. I don't think it's a finished shot. And sometimes in TV spots, in trailers, the finished shots are released for the trailers. And that's fine. But at least admit it. At least say, you know what? He could have come out afterwards and said, you know what? It's not great. We haven't finished it yet. It will be better. Now, of course, Snyder fans can say, well, look at our BTS footage. The BTS footage looks brilliant even before they started doing VFX and post on it. And it's true. If you look at any BTS footage from the Snyderverse, it already looks outstanding. The costumes, everything. And it hasn't been the same, really, if you look at the BTS so far that we've seen, for James Gunn's Superman. And this is the problem. When, you know, an amateur artist comes in after Picasso's painted something, it's a problem. And a lot of people will laugh at me and say, well, Snyder's not Picasso compared to James Gunn. Yes, he is. James Gunn isn't a great director, he's a good director. A good, capable writer-director. He isn't the writer-director that his fans believe that he is. So the shilling does put my back up. Because I don't dislike James Gunn, right? He's not one of my favourite people. He's not one of my favourite directors, but I respect him. You know, he's perfectly fine at what he does. The Guardians trilogy was great. The Suicide Squad is actually a really good movie. I'd call it a great movie. I really enjoy it. He can direct a certain movie of that type, but at the end of the day, you know, he isn't Coppola. He isn't Scorsese. And anyone with any objectivity knows that. But the problem with fanatics, they don't have any objectivity. And I've told you that many, many times. So the shilling continues. The Real Rejects, one of the Real Rejects, by the way, works for DC Studios. He works on one of their podcasts. Apparently so, I've been told. So there's no objectivity there either. You can't trust him. All you can do is believe your own eyes. And maybe Superman will be a great movie. Maybe the rest of the flying and VFX is outstanding. You know, maybe it's better than Man of Steel. I doubt it, but maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. All I know is that shot, that first real shot of him flying on his own isn't great. The face doesn't look good. The posture doesn't look good. Look, no one with a straight face can tell you that's a great shot. Now, of course, there is shills going on Twitter going, oh my God, this is perfect. It's not. It's bad. It's okay to admit it's bad. But look, I've been there when I've been obsessed with actors and directors and people making stuff. Well, I haven't had any objectivity myself. When I was younger, I lacked objectivity. When Smallville was on air, I lacked objectivity. Even if they made a bad episode and someone said he was bad, I would shout and scream at them because I lacked objectivity. I was a Smallville shill. I'm not going to lie. But now I have objectivity. I see it. I see what the industry has become. I've seen that it's full of used car salespeople. I've seen what it is, and nothing good. They're they're relaunching Buffy, where Sarah Michelle Gellar will reoccur, but they're going to have a new Slayer, right? And I wonder what kind of identity that Slayer is going to have. We know where they're going. Disney Buffy, Disney Doctor Who, Disney Star Wars. It's all bad, isn't it? And Buffy, should have left her alone. If I was Joss Whedon, as disgraced as he is, I still would sue them and try and stop them from making this. But he won't, because he's part of them. He's worked with them before. So, it's going to happen, but it's very sad. Basically, what Disney are going to do, just changing the subject briefly, is they're going to take every Fox show, because they bought 20th Century Fox. They're going to rework them all. They're reworking X-Files, not watching it. They're reworking Buffy, not watching it. I'm not going to watch any of them. I'll rewatch the classics. I won't touch anything these people do. I don't even know if I don't have access to Daredevil Born Again, but I don't know if I'm even going to make the effort to try and watch Daredevil Born Again. I'm sure I'll get feedback. We'll see what happens. But at this moment in time, I don't have access of it. Because of the copyright, Disney Plus isn't available here in Cyprus. But when you look at the shilling and excuses made by real rejects who have a connection to WB and DC, by the way, for James Gunn, trying to call out so-called negative fans. And it's always funny when they talk about the Snyder fan base, they say, oh, a toxic fan base. They say that to try and discredit the Snyder fan base. But there's no discrediting it. Everyone has their opinions about the die-hard Snyder fans. I like Snyder. I love his movies, especially his DC movies, right? I love Watchmen. I love 300. I love his zombie movie, and I can't even remember what that zombie movie is actually called. But I like his movies, but especially love his 3 DC movies. I think he did a really good job, and I like them. Nobody has to like what I like, but I like them. I don't understand the poison that comes with Zack Snyder, the hatred that comes with Zack Snyder. I think the hatred that Zack gets is more toxic than his fans. Every fandom has a toxic element, because every community has a toxic element. Everyone's different, right? And some people are more aggressive than others. And just to call out the Snyder fan base as toxic is something that simply doesn't work anymore. You can't discredit what they're saying, because a lot of what the Snyder fans say is actually true. That's the reality. Did we imagine them lying about Henry Cavill coming back? Did we imagine those 4 DCEU movies that flopped after they delayed them by a year? Because they changed them and made them worse. Remember what Zaslav said? We're going to make them better. Did you make Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom better? No, you made it worse. Did you make the Flash movie better? No, you made it worse. Right? Blue Beetle flopped. They all flopped. So really, the last DC connected universe movies didn't do well. So James Gunn has taken on this huge thing, and he's been very, very quiet recently, by the way, ever since that the Superman estate decided to sue Warner Brothers Discovery over international rights. And I mean, let's briefly talk about that as well. Do they have a case? Look, as far as I know, being objective, as far as I know, WB have got full rights on Superman. They own DC Comics. So as far as I know, they have every right to release it in England, in Canada, in New Zealand and Australia. As far as I know, they have those rights. But it's interesting. The timing of this is interesting. I haven't read all the litigation. I don't know if they found something, because sometimes you can find something, right? These estates can find something. Just something little that can stop the company that thinks they have total ownership in releasing it. Now, I don't know how legally they found, an obstruction where WB can't release it in certain countries. Now, this will be devastating for WB, because they need to release this in every country. They already don't know how this film's going to do. And, as I say, this week with Fantastic Four having a trailer and Jurassic World Rebirth, these are huge movies. And it really is, the pressure is on Warner Brothers Discovery, the pressure is on James Gunn and DC Studios and Peter Safran already. But this legal action is very, very unpredictable. And can they get it done? within the next 6 months.